Hi, I'm Chef Stephen Rowe, and today we're going to be showing everyone's favorite bread, focaccia. Let's start off with the ingredients. So we have 795 grams of flour. We have 453 milliliters of cool water, not cold and definitely not hot. We have 15 grams of sugar, 12 grams of dry activated yeast, 10 grams of salt, and 43 milliliters of olive oil. Now to get this started, we're going to add our water, then our sugar, and then our yeast. We're going to sprinkle that over the top. Now just a really quick note on this. Yeast is alive, so you definitely don't want to have hot water. Cool, tepid water is perfect for this. Now we're going to let that activate into the water, and that's going to take a few minutes. And now we're back. It takes about 10 minutes for the yeast to activate in the water with the sugar, because again, yeast is a living organism. It's feeding off the sugar, and as you can see, it's starting to rise. We're going to add in our olive oil. Just going to give that a little mix. And our salt we're going to mix in with our flour. You never want to put salt in with your sugar and yeast because the salt will kill your yeast. So we're going to add that. We're going to incorporate that salt into the flour so it's evenly distributed. Then we're going to make a little well in the center. We're going to add our water and yeast. Get all that good stuff in there. Set that aside. And then we're just going to kind of stir it to start getting that absorbed, all that flour absorbed. Getting down to the bottom and bringing that up to the top. It may seem that it's very dry at the start, but it will eventually come together for you. So now we have our dough together. It takes about 2-minute mix time to get that yeast, water, sugar, salt, and flour and oil to fully mix in together. Now what we need to do to get that onto a countertop, and we're going to need this for approximately 5 minutes to kind of build up the gluten in the dough. So you keep taking the dough, pull it from the inside to the out. You can use the heel of your hand as such. Keep stretching the dough, bringing it back in and on itself. Now it might start getting a little tacky on you. You can always add a little bit more flour. Okay, so after about 4 or 5 minutes, you get a nice smooth dough. We built up the gluten, which is a structural protein that's naturally found in a lot of cereal grains, especially in flour. So now we have a nice elastic dough. We're going to cover it. We're going to allow that to double in size. And then we're going to work the dough into the focaccia. Okay, so now our dough is risen. It's double in size. Now we're going to take this dough and we're going to form it into a rectangle that's going to fit into the baking pan that we're going to use. If you try to take the dough and form it into the pan in a round shape, it'll never get out to the edges. So at this stage, we're going to free up our dough. And this term is known as docking. We're going to take our fingertips and we're going to permeate the dough and pinch the dough, like so, like so. And now we're going to allow that to rise as well. Cover it up. And to prepare the pan for each focaccia that we're going to be making, and in this case we're going to be making one, we're going to be using a 1/2 cup or 4 ounces of olive oil into the pan. And we're going to spread that out. Once that dough is risen again, we're going to transfer that into the pan with the oil. Yeah. Now that our dough has rested and has risen, We're going to transfer the dough over to the pan with the olive oil. Hands underneath that, like so. We're going to allow that to rest and to start to rise again. We're going to take that dough and flip it over once it starts to absorb some of that olive oil. All right, now we're ready. After this resting period, we're going to ready to turn this dough over that's been sitting in the olive oil. We're putting the dough into the pan. Now we have a lot of that beautiful olive oil on top. And we're going to stretch that dough out to the edges of the pan. We're going to impinge it again with our fingertips. Okay. And then we're going to allow that to rise up to the level of the pan. Okay. Now that our focaccia bread has risen to the level of the pan, you can notice that the olive oil is sheening over the top of the dough. We're going to be topping that with coarse salt and chopped rosemary. Is the rosemary here? We've chopped that, and we're going to be evenly sprinkling that over the top of the dough, starting at the edges and working all the way around. I particularly really like rosemary, so we have a lot of that. And now for the salt, and again the same way. You don't want the salt all in one place, so you evenly sprinkle around to the edges, and then you work your way in. Okay, and that's ready to go into an oven, 400 degrees. It should take about 15 minutes. Okay, now a focaccia. Nice golden brown, lovely looking focaccia, smells great. We're going to allow that to cool and use it for our sandwiches, as our accompaniments for meals, etc. Nice snacks too.